at Dinosaur Adventure Land in Lenox, Alabama, drdino.com. Check us out. Lots of books and stuff to help you learn about the Bible being true and evolution being stupid. So this morning we have Sutter Green going to be sharing with us how to start a ministry. And you are 14 years old and started your own ministry. Anybody can do this. There's a war going on. Pick up a weapon and shoot. If you don't know how, carry bullets for somebody who does. Amen. Sutter, congratulations. Come take it away. Tell us all about your ministry.
I don't know how this works. Hold on. Should I just hold it? Or just... Yeah. Okay. And that's good. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Sutter Green, and as Dr. Hovind said, and today I am going to be talking about how to start an online ministry and how to witness, because that's a really important subject that all Christians should be witnessing to people, because there's a whole reason Jesus came and died for us, and our job now is to tell people about it. So a little bit about who I am is I'm the administrator of the Discipleship Podcast, which is a podcast that the youth group at my church, me and a friend, started at our church, and we answer questions that teens and adults commonly have about the Bible and about creation and different evolutionary theories also. I'm also a student in the Living Waters Biblical School of Evangelism, which is about a 2-year course online. I've been taking it for almost 2 years now. And it teaches you how to witness and also how to refute other religions and different things. It's a very good course, and I recommend you take it. It's a great course. So on my YouTube channel, 777 Discipleship, I've done a lot of different interviews with creationists, pastors, evangelists, pretty much the whole 9 yards. Anybody who's doing something for the Lord, I try and interview them. I've interviewed different people like Jeremy Camp, Caleb and John, Brian Davis is a good Christian book author, Dr. Hovind, Donnie from Standing for Truth, where they host most of Dr. Hovind's debates, Justin Warren, and Mark Spence, who is from Living Waters. He's the vice president. So I also on our podcast, we have that on my YouTube channel, which is 777 Discipleship 777. And we have our whole church is involved now. We started it about 2 years ago, or 1.5 years ago. I don't know. Me and my friend had got together at our church youth group, and we're talking. And I asked him if he'd like to start a podcast for no reason whatsoever. And so we just decided to start a podcast, and the Lord actually grew the podcast. And so now we have a bunch of people. That's me and my friend Justin, and then our 2 co-hosts who come on with us occasionally, then everybody else who helps out constantly with the podcast. So today we're going to go over 3 topics: how to witness as a teen and beyond. So this is for anybody, just how to witness, how to share God's redemptive story, how to start an online ministry, which is really important because I think that's one of the best ways to reach people, because we're reaching people in every country. I think it was almost every country. And then at the end, I'll have a quick Q&A where I'll answer some pre-made questions, and any questions you guys have, I can answer. Well, hopefully I can answer. So my mom loves making T-shirts, and so she actually made these cool, I'm actually wearing one right now, Bible verse T-shirts. And so throughout this, I think I have 2 or 3, but this is just to say who can answer this question. And then we have 3 different T-shirts that she made for whoever can answer questions. So who said no one is good but God? Yes, Jesus. So you get a T-shirt. Yeah. Here, what size do you want? All righty. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. The first topic we're going to be going over is effective witnessing, 4 keys to sharing the gospel. This is by Living Waters, the same people who are doing the Biblical School of Evangelism. And the 4 main keys to sharing the gospel are WDJD, would, do, judgment, and destiny. All right, so I need someone to help me with this part, because I think it's easier to show you how to witness if I sort of witness to someone as I go. So if anybody, yeah, Chloe, you want to come up? Or anybody who wants to come? Run. All right, so this is my sister Chloe, and I'm going to witness to her. Your head is in the slide, I think. Or I don't even know where the slides went. Yeah, thanks. So here, you stand over here so your head's not in the slides. So I'm going to witness to her as I show the slides along with what I'm saying. So I'll break it down as I go. So when you're talking to someone and you want to share the gospel with them, you use the 4 keys, WDJD, would, do, judgment, destiny. So the first question you ask the person is would. Would you consider yourself to be a good person? Chloe, for this demonstration, you are going to say yes to every question, even though it may not be true in your own life. So would you consider yourself to be a good person?
Yes.
So the reason we ask them, would you consider yourself to be a good person, is because in the Bible it says that every man will proclaim his own goodness. And if somebody thinks that they're a good person, they're not going to understand why they need a savior. And so it's important to show them that they're not a good person. So we ask this question, would you consider yourself to be a good person? And also you see below, it talks about 10 Commandment Coin Gospel Track. Living Waters, they put out a bunch of different gospel tracks. And one of those gospel tracks is a 10 Commandment coin. Has the 10 Commandments on the back and the gospel on the front. And you can give this to a person for our next step, and it really helps you walk them through it. So our next step is do you think that you've kept the 10 Commandments? So when you ask them this question, most people will say, yeah, pretty much. So you will say, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then you sort of take them through a 10 Commandments test. You sort of say, have you ever lied? Have you ever stolen anything? And when you ask them these questions, you want to ask it like this. Have you ever lied, no matter if it's big or small?
Yes.
And what does that make you?
A liar.
So you're trying to get them to say what they are. So you're trying to get them to say, yeah, I'm a liar. What do you call someone who's lied? I'm a liar. What do you call somebody who's stolen anything? A thief. And a lot of people actually, when you try and elicit this response, they actually say something like human or something like that. And so you have to really sometimes go into it and say, well, what would you call me if I lied to you? Call me a liar. And this is important because a lot of people take it to the point where they think you're judging them, but really here you're just getting an admission from them. They're judging themselves. So you don't have to take them through all these commandments, but the main 3 you want to take them through is, I think, have you ever lied? Have you ever stolen anything? And have you ever hated someone? Because everybody's pretty much all done these 3 things. And it's important because Jesus says hate is murder. And so that often gets a lot of people because a lot of people don't understand that. They'll say stuff like, oh, I may have lied and stolen, but I've never killed anyone. Well, if you hate someone, well, you're a murderer in your heart. So then once you've taken them through those commandments, you're going to summarize what they've said. So whatever they've said, you're not going to just, according to James 2:10, whoever keeps the whole law and yet stumbles at one point is guilty of breaking all of it. So even if you sin just once, you have broken all of God's laws. So based off that verse that they have broken all of these laws. They've done all these things, but you're going based off their admission. You're not judging them right now. They're judging themselves. So then you summarize. You say, based off your own admission, you are a lying, blaspheming, murderous, adulterous thief at heart. And that's just an example of if they say they've broken all of them. And then you ask them, then you go to the next step, which is judgment. If God were to judge you by the 10 Commandments, would you be innocent or guilty?
Innocent.
Yes, innocent is what everybody pretty much says, which may sound weird, but they say innocent because a lot of people think that God will just forgive them, and we'll get into that in a second. So if they do say guilty, then you take them on to the next step, destiny. Would you go to heaven or hell? If they say hell, then you can explain grace and you can explain why Jesus died for us on the cross. But if they say heaven, you should ask them why. The most common response is people say heaven or innocent because they think God will just forgive them if they apologize. And he will, but they have to repent on this earth, not after death. It's like if you're in a courtroom and you have a stack of speeding fines and you say to the judge, hey, judge, will you just forgive me and let me go? If he's a just judge, he's not going to just let you go. So God can't just let you go when you've broken all these commandments. So once you explain that to them, you can take them on to the next step, which is explain grace. So then you ask them, do you know what God did so we don't have to go to hell? And most people will say yes, but you need to explain to them Jesus' sacrifice anyway, because most of the time they don't quite understand why Jesus died for us. They know he died, but they don't really know how it applies to them. And if they say no, you tell them about Jesus anyway. So you just tell them about Jesus, no matter what they say in the situation. So you tell them something like this. You say, well, as you've seen, you've broken these commandments, and these commandments are God's moral law. They're how he'll judge the world on Judgment Day. And you have to face up to a holy God. And since you know you will be guilty, you need someone. You can't pay your own fines. You need someone to pay your fines for you. And it's like, if you can go back to the courtroom analogy, you have a stack of speeding fines you can't pay. The judge isn't just going to let you go. But then this is sort of what happened. All of a sudden, someone you don't even know came into the courtroom and paid your fine. You're free to go. That's what Jesus did for us. He came into our courtroom and he paid our fine so that we don't have to go to hell, so that we can go to heaven and spend eternity with him. And now, once you've accepted Jesus, it's your job to go and tell others about him. And so once you explain this to them, a lot of times based on the different people who you tell this to, if you think they're really accepting this, you can go a little bit further with them. Some people just need some time to think about what you said, and it's not great to just push it on them. Sometimes you just need to back off and let them process it. They've heard the gospel, and now it's their turn. It's their part where they have to choose whether they accept it or reject it. So that's how to witness in 4 simple steps. Would you consider yourself to be a good person? Do you think you've kept the 10 commandments? Judgment, if God judges you by the 10 commandments, would you be innocent or guilty? And destiny, would you go to heaven or hell? Yes, you may step down. Thank you, Chloe, for helping me. All right, so now I'm going to go over the 4 most common problems people have when witnessing, because I know when I would watch videos on how to witness, I'd try and witness to a person, then I'd be like, I'm running into all these problems. I'm not sure what to do. And so I'm going to go over the 4 most common problems that people have, and that's fear, religion, good people, and idols. Some of that might sound a little weird, but I'll explain as we go. So the first problem people run into is fear, is they're scared of witnessing to people. And I was scared about witnessing to people at first because, it's just like going up to a random person and saying, hey, you're probably going to a place called hell. It's not exactly a easy thing to go up to someone and tell them. So how do you overcome that fear of witnessing to people? You got to think about where that person would go if they died. You got to let your compassion over your love for that person overwhelm your fear. So if that person died tonight and they didn't know Jesus, then they would go to hell. And the Bible says, if your eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out. It is better for you to enter the kingdom of God with 1 eye than to have 2 eyes and be thrown into hell. Mark 9:47. So obviously hell is a pretty bad place. How much do you value your eye? Would you sell your eye for $1 million? Would you sell your eye for $10 million? Would you sell both your eyes for all the money in the world? Your eyes are very valuable to you. They're the windows to your soul. And your soul, imagine it like this. Your eyes are the window to your soul, and your soul's like a house. So your eyes are like windows. Your soul's like a house. How much more valuable is the house than the windows? You've got to think about that person. They're going to spend eternity in hell if they don't know Jesus. And hell's not some place where they stay for 50, 100 years, and then they're released to go try again. It's eternity. It is forever. And our limited minds can't comprehend forever, but it's forever. It never stops. That suffering never stops. And anyone not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire, Revelation 20:15. It's a lake burning with fire and brimstone and eternal torment. You've got to let your love for that person, your compassion, you don't want anything bad to happen to that person. You've got to have a love for the people you're witnessing to let that love overcome your fear. So the next most common problem you'll run into is religion. There's a ton of different religions nowadays. There's Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism are the 4 main ones. So what do you do when witnessing to people from other religions? Well, don't go down any rabbit holes. You want to stay on topic. So your job is not to refute their religion. You can, if you have the amount of experience to do that, then I say it's good to, give them some pointers on why their religion is faulty. But your job isn't to go around arguing with people about religions. Your job is to present them the gospel, and then it's their job to either accept it or reject it. So I think the two best things to do are stay on topic and learn the most common religions and what they believe. Just a few things of what they believe that can help you when witnessing to them. Like Jehovah's Witnesses, they believe that, I think it was, Jesus is Michael the Archangel incarnate. I mean, that's really useful to know, because if you're witnessing to one of them and they say, yeah, I know who Jesus is, they don't really, but you may think they do. And so that can be a big problem if you don't understand who they believe Jesus is. And another thing is most religions point to Jesus. So if you are talking to someone from a different religion and they also believe in Jesus, they believe he was a prophet, or even if they just read his words, you can tell them that Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes through to the Father except through me, John 14:6. He's saying that he's the only way into heaven. And so all these other religions, these are all work righteousness religions. They are trying to earn their way into heaven. And they even have Jesus in their religion, but they don't understand that the very person who's important in their religion says that their religion is wrong. And the reason people try and incorporate Jesus into their religions is because when you're telling a lie, you have to mix in some truth with that lie. And it's a non-disputed fact that Jesus was a historical character, and that he actually rose from the dead. There's a ton of evidence for that. So people try and mix in the truth of Jesus with the lies of their religion. So when witnessing to people from other religions, try and stay on topic and try and find a way to show them Jesus through their religion. Show them that Jesus is in this religion, and he says this. So the next most common problem you'll have is good people. People who say they haven't broken any of the commandments. While you know this is wrong, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, Romans 3:23, they may still say stuff like, I don't believe the Bible, I know I'm a good person, stuff like that. Well, your job in this situation is not to go off what they believe and what they don't believe. If they're standing on a highway and there's a semi-truck coming at them, but they don't believe in semi-trucks, this truck is not going to just suddenly disappear. It's still going to hit them. So your job is not to make them believe the Bible. While you can show them the Bible and show them all the evidence, if they reject that evidence, no matter how much it is, you can't make them accept it. Your job is to stay on topic and to present the gospel to them. So remember, it's impossible for anyone not to have broken the commandments. You can tell them the Bible verses, Romans 3:23, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, and Luke 18:19. So Jesus said to him, why do you call me good? For no one is good but one, that is God. And the final, most common problem that I've seen people run into, and this one you will probably run into every single time you witness to someone, is idols. And when I say idols, you probably think of something like a golden calf from the Israelites when Moses went up on the mountain, and then they all of a sudden, they just started worshiping this golden calf. That's sort of what I'm talking about here, but not really. So what is an idol in this particular sense? An idol is a god that a person makes up to fit what they want to do. So a lot of people say they believe in God, but they've actually made a fake God in their mind, a God that lets them do what they want. People will say stuff like, God wouldn't send me to hell for just lying once or just stealing a pen or something like that. God doesn't see stealing a pen down here and then stealing a car up here. Sin is all equal in his eyes. So you have to explain to them also, you're breaking another commandment by saying that God wouldn't punish you for your sin. You shall have no other gods before me, Exodus 23. God is saying that even it's not just false gods from other religions. It's a God that you can make up in your own mind, saying, he wouldn't punish me for this or this. God is going to punish all sin. So those were the four main things you'll run into, four main problems you'll run into when witnessing to people. I think idols is the most common. Also, good people is a very common one. Pretty much everybody will say they have lied, but some people may say they haven't. So now I hope you have been able to understand how this can help you when witnessing. Most people have broken the commandments, but if they say they haven't, then you can show them those Bible verses. The answer is always in the Bible, so you can always just take them back to the Bible. And real quick, before we go on to this next slide, I just want to say that if you're witnessing to someone, always use your Bible. Bring a Bible with you. If they want to use their Bible, just don't use their Bible, because a lot of different religions have changed the Bible. The Catholics have now actually changed a bunch of the Bible, and you can't use their Bible because they have it switched around. So now we're going to talk about the wrong way to witness. And I actually believe that if you're not witnessing the right way, then you shouldn't witness at all, because you can cause more problems than help people. So when we came into this, you might have been thinking, I already know how to witness. I don't really need this class. So you may be witnessing the wrong way. Some people leave out hell when witnessing. And why is it important to keep hell in when witnessing? Well, let's say you're on a plane and a flight attendant comes up to you and hands you a parachute and says, hey, this will improve your flight. You're going to be like, okay, thanks. You put the parachute on. You notice you sort of have to hunch over in your seat to keep it on your back. It's a little heavy. People are sort of laughing at you, and, stuff's happening. And then, say like the flight attendant spills hot coffee all over your lap. You'll take that parachute off and you'll throw it on the ground saying, that didn't improve my flight. That made my flight worse. And you have every right to do that from what you were told. You were told that this parachute would improve your flight. And in the same way, people are witnessing to people today saying things like, Jesus will improve your life and fill that void in your heart. And while he will fill that void in your heart, he'll give you a peace that passes all understanding. It's not going to improve your life on this earth. We're not of this world. We'll face tribulation, trials in this world, but our reward is not in this world. Our reward is after this world in heaven. But if you went up to someone and you said to them, and so we'll take another situation with the flight attendant. Say a flight attendant comes down to somebody who's on a plane and says, here's a parachute. We're about to have to jump 20,000 feet. That person's going to put on that parachute, and no matter what happens, they're not letting go of that parachute. Somebody spills hot coffee on their lap, so people are laughing at them. They're not going to care. They are only thinking about the jump that is to come, and once they've secured their own safety, they're going to start worrying about the safety of others, and that's what we should do as Christians. Hell is that jump to come, and you could die tonight. You never know when you're going to die. And I like what Ray Comfort says. He calls it invincibility syndrome. People think it'll happen to anybody but themselves. I think, oh, that would never happen to me. That car crash would never happen to me. But really, what people don't understand is that 150,000 people die every single day. So who knows when you're going to be the one, or your neighbor's going to be the one to die. That's why it's so important to witness to people while you can. A quick story is there was this man who was witnessing to this lady he worked with. She was the secretary, and he was slowly witnessing to her over the course of days. I mean, he was just trying to, show God through his life. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you really do need to witness to people upright, because you never know when somebody's just going to die. Well, the next day, he came into work after about 3 days of witnessing to her, and the lady had died. She had committed suicide. Think about if he had just told her about Jesus. It could have changed her life. And I mean, that story makes me sad every time I think about it, because that's another soul that most likely went to hell. It's a terrible thing when anybody goes to hell. So after all this, witnessing to someone hopefully sounds easier, but I think the hardest part of witnessing isn't knowing what to tell them after you've gotten into a conversation. The hardest thing is getting into the conversation. You don't just go up to someone and say, hey there, you're going to hell. You probably should listen to me for a few minutes. You can't just go up to someone and say that. They're going to reject that immediately. So what's one of the best ways to get into a conversation with people? Well, gospel tracts are an amazing way to do that. I have a bunch of gospel tracts with me here from Living Waters. They put gospel tracts into fun little different things. Like here, this is one of their phone gospel tracts. You can just leave this on the ground. You can give it to a person to get into a conversation about the gospel. And it has a fun thing on the front, things you can't do. And it's a fun little thing on the front. And then you look on the back, and it's the gospel message. And it's a great way to get into people, to get into a conversation with people about the gospel. So it's a great icebreaker. And even if you don't have the time to witness to people, like nowadays, I can't walk by a person without knowing they're saved. I mean, I'm just like, is that person saved? I need to give them a gospel tract. And these are great ways to give people the gospel and to get the gospel into their own homes. They take it with them home, and now they have the gospel in their hands at their house. So even if you didn't have the time to witness to them, or they didn't have the time to listen to you, they still have that gospel tract. If someone rejects you halfway through a conversation, they just walk off. If you originally handed them a gospel tract, they're still going to have that gospel tract in their hand. They're still going to have that for later. And right here it says about a story. So when I was younger, about a year and a half ago, when I started handing out gospel tracts, here you go. You guys can check those out. I need one of those. Yeah, these two. So when I think it was 2022, I first started handing out gospel tracts. I saw them from Living Waters, and so I got some $1 million bills, which is my favorite tract they have. It's a $1 million bill with a gospel message on the back. And so what happened was I dropped one on the floor in our grocery store. I think it was like a Food Line or something. Nowadays, we wouldn't be going to a Food Line because of what's happening now. But what happened was I dropped it on the floor, and my dad stands right next to it. He's almost stepping on it. So I was about to tell him not to step on it when all of a sudden this guy comes down the grocery aisle, and he sees the gospel tract. And so what he does is he walks up to my dad. He stands right next to my dad, steps on the gospel tract, acts like he's looking at something, and slides it away from my dad as he pretends to look till he gets about 8 feet away from my dad, and then incautiously bends over, picks it up, and puts it in his pocket. I thought to myself, he thought that was a $100 bill. Imagine his surprise when he reads the back. Have you ever stolen anything? Instant conviction. So here's some more examples of the gospel tracts that Living Waters has. The Ten Commandment coin you can see at the top. Ticket to Heaven is on the top right, one of my favorites also. They're actually so popular, I haven't even gotten to use one yet. They're sold out constantly of this one. It says if you don't need this ticket to heaven, you can tear it up. And it's actually untearable paper. So it shows people that it has a gospel message on the back too. So it is a literal ticket to heaven. And then this one right here, this is the giant $100 bill gospel tract. It has the gospel message on the back. And what a lot of people like to do is give these out at fairs and stuff. People, I mean, who could resist a free giant $100 bill? The smart card, place your thumb firmly on the rainbow square. If you are a good person, it'll light up bright green. It never lights up because nobody's a good person. And another one is the Are You a Good Person tract. It's a little booklet of Are You a Good Person in comic form. And it sort of is what you took them through already, but in comic form if you don't have the time to take them through that. So that was our first topic, how to witness as a teen and beyond. So this was for everybody. I think witnessing is something all Christians need to be doing. I mean, someone came and died for us. Jesus came and died for us. It's not something that we need to take lightly. These are things that we need to be giving. We need to be showing people that Jesus died for us, because that's the whole reason we're here now, is because before Jesus left, he told us, go into the world and preach the good news to every living creature. Our job now is to preach the gospel to everyone. So next, that was the longest one. That was the hardest topic. So the rest is very easy and actually a lot of fun. I've got some fun videos in here. This is how to start an online ministry. This is for everybody, and I think it's really important. I think everybody should start an online ministry of some sort, whether it be on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, any of these. I think having an online ministry is a great way to reach people. So here's another question for one of the t-shirts. What is the most common excuse people use to justify themselves going to heaven? Huh? They're good enough. Yes, that is correct. Here, I don't know which is which. Which one you want? All right. There you go. So before I start on how to create a channel, I'm going to sort of talk about how I started discipleship. So 2 years ago, about a month ago, it was our 2-year anniversary for discipleship. I had been watching Dr. Hovind for about a year or two, and I really wanted to do more for the Lord. It's like Jeremiah said, God's word burns like a fire in my bones. I have to let it out. And I could really relate to that verse because I really wanted to show what I'd learned. So I started discipleship, but I wasn't really prepared to make my own videos. So I loved watching Dr. Hovind's videos. And so what I actually did was I screen recorded his videos on my iPad, and then I would repost them on my channel. And I just kept doing that. And then I started getting about 20 to 50 people who would watch the videos. And I also put links to his debates and stuff. And then after a while, my mom, who's interviewed several people, said to me, she said, "Why, you watch this guy so much. Why don't you ask him for an interview?" And so I was like, why would he want to interview me with 40 people on watching my channel? So I decided to try anyway. I went to the About section of their YouTube channel, and that's where you can find pretty much everybody's phone number or email. And I saw the phone number, the 855 BIG-DINO number, extension 3, Dr. Hovind. So I thought that's what they meant when they said, you want to schedule an interview. And so I called their number, and then I hit extension 3. And this is right when I first started my channel. And Dr. Hovind answers the phone. And I mean, I'd listened to him for like 3 years almost, and then all of a sudden he just answers the phone. And so I'm shocked that he's answered the phone. And then he says he wants to do the interview, which was even more shocking for me because I have like 30 people watching. And so we do the interview, and I did not too good, but it was my first interview. It's not as bad as some of my other ones. I actually forgot about one of my interviews, and the guy stayed in there for like 20 minutes waiting for me, and I never came. That was a sad interview, but the interview went really well, I think. Dr. Hovind gave some great answers. The video, once I posted it, got about 150 views, and Dr. Hovind asked people to come check out my channel, and that really helped. After that, I got about 150 people watching, and so that gave me the confidence. After that interview, it really gave me the confidence to start making my own videos. So I made a series of Should Christians videos. Should Christians watch Harry Potter? Should Christians play Among Us? Should Christians watch Disney? All different things. And I started doing more interviews. I did more interviews with Dr. Hovind. I did an interview with Donnie from Standing for Truth. He was on last night. I did an interview with Mark Spence from Living Waters, as I said before, and then kept posting videos. So then about a year afterwards, we had left this original church because they had closed during COVID. And a friend invited me to come back to church with him for youth group. And during youth group, we started finishing each other's sentences and answering each other's questions. And I said to him, I have a YouTube channel. Why don't we start a podcast? I don't know what made me just all of a sudden want to start a podcast. But he said, sure, let's do it. So he had a microphone. Actually, in this video right here, the microphone doesn't even work. We just put it there to look professional. It was actually my iPad recording that with my terrible iPad speaker because we couldn't get the mic to plug in. And I didn't know at that time that mics won't plug into iPads. So we did the podcast episode. It went about 30 minutes, and we got about 6 minutes out of it because someone had walked into the room who believed the Big Bang Theory, and half of it was her yelling at us, telling us that we were wrong. So I had to cut out a ton. And I talked to him afterwards, and he said to me, Sutter, that was so horrible. And he's like, I don't want to do this again. And I was like, listen, dude, let's just try one more time. We'll go to my house and do it where there's no interruptions. And we did it at my house. It got about 120 views once we'd finished. It was great. Should Christians use self-defense was the topic of the episode. And from there, we actually really started enjoying it. And so we started posting more podcast episodes, and it started going great. The Lord's really blessed us. Now we're into season 3. We're almost at season 4. We've got about 27 episodes out now. I've continued doing interviews with people like Jeremy Camp, Brian Davis, and the Lord's definitely blessed us. So here's a quick clip I'm going to play from one of my interviews with Jeremy Camp for y'all to see. He gives a really great answer to what is the best thing for young Christians to do to continue in their walk with the Lord. Oh. It shouldn't be. Hold on. Here it is. It's just a little quiet here. I've got mine on full, so just... There we go. 40 will be good. If you have one piece of advice for young Christians, I'm not saying Christians, I mean, you could be people are just going to become Christian, right? So they become Christian. If you have one piece of advice for new Christians, what would it be?
One of the biggest things, and it's so funny because it can sound so generic and statement, but it's so crucial in growing and learning, is reading the Bible. Like, open up the Word of God and reading the Bible. For me, that's what changed my life. I mean, not just reading, but applying. You can read all you want. If you don't apply it, then what's the point? You know what I mean? But the Holy Spirit letting Him in your heart, I think that's a massive part of growth, is opening God's Word. And then understanding too that, walking with Jesus, it's not just I want to spend time with Him in the morning and the rest of the day is mine. It's like you realize the whole day is with Jesus.
So that's a short clip from the interview that I did with him. He was amazing throughout the interview. He had amazing answers, and I think the interview went absolutely great. He was so kind to let me interview him. I think I had 250 subscribers, and I still don't have much more than that now. I think I have around 300 now. But he's a pretty big Christian artist, so the Lord's definitely blessed us in giving me the chance to interview him. So now our podcast has gotten bigger and bigger. We now have a website. We have our website, 777discipleship.com. I don't know if it's up currently. It should be up soon. It got knocked down because the website host that we were using started celebrating Pride. So we had to switch everything over right before the boot camp. And we have another one, which is the discipleshippodcast.buzzsprout.com. And we're hosted on almost every single podcasting platform except Apple Podcasts, because for some reason they never work. I don't know why. But here's a quick clip, sort of a sum up of the podcast and what we've done over the years. Oh, let me get this.
Welcome back to Discipleship. This is Sutter and Justin, as always. We were taught as kids to not get in strangers' cars and meet strangers from the internet. And now we're literally summoning strangers from the internet and get in the car. Welcome back to the Discipleship Podcast. Well, season 1. We're not stopping. Yeah, we're not stopping. Welcome back to the Discipleship Podcast. Welcome back to the Discipleship Podcast. Today, there are 4 people on the couch. Welcome back to the Discipleship Podcast. I'm your host. You never say that second part, but yes, we are back. This is Will, as you know him. This is Justin, you probably know him. This is Gabriel. He's the distinguished gentleman. And we're back. I'm your host, Sutter Green. Thank you for joining us.
So that's sort of our funniest episodes that we've done over the years, and it's the first ones you saw where I was behind a wall and I attacked Justin with an airsoft pistol. That was our second episode, Should Christians Use Self-Defense? And the Lord's definitely blessed us. We've been able to do a bunch of different episodes, and it's been a ton of fun. So now we're going to go on to, this is a little bit of a shorter topic, but it's a very important one, how to create an online channel where you can witness to people. So when you're witnessing to people, a great way to do it is online, because you can record what you say and then keep it there forever. People can just come and watch it whenever they want. So you don't have to do it over and over again online. So how to create a channel. Choose a name is the first step. So choose your platform and then choose a name. Choose something that shows what you're doing for the Lord. 777 Discipleship, 777 is trying to disciple people from the Lord. If you wonder why there's a 777 in front, it's because discipleship was already taken, and they would not let us use it. So you can ask a family member or a friend to try to help you make a channel if they already have experience with social media making channels. And then tell friends and family to subscribe to your channel. I know that may not sound like much, but the more subscribers you have, YouTube boosts those videos to other people who are like the people who have subscribed to your channel. So the more people who subscribe, the more people you can share your channel with. So then start posting videos. You can start making videos and posting them And you can also repost other videos that people have made. Like Dr. Hovind's videos, I reposted those for a while. You can, but whenever you're doing this, whatever channel you do, my advice is to definitely get the put credits like right on the video, because there was a time we had 2 copyright strikes and 1 warning, and we almost lost discipleship because YouTube will there are people who just have nothing better to do but go through your old videos and try and take your channel down. And yeah, it's almost happened a few times. Definitely put credits on the channel in any videos you repost. And then you can ask for an interview. This may not be what you want to do with your channel, but I think it's still a great thing to do is to interview different pastors. You can interview pastors, missionaries, Christian artists, creationists, like Dr. Hovind. He said he'd love to do an interview, anybody who wants to start a channel. And you have to remember that you already have a no if you don't go for a yes, because if you just never ask, then you already have a no. But there's a chance you could get a yes. And like Ray Comfort, I've wanted to do an interview with him for a long time. I think I've asked 12 times now, and I'm good friends with his secretary. So yeah, so we're hoping to get an interview with him soon. And another thing, this isn't a step you have to do, but asking for a friend to share the channel with is a great thing to do. I wish I'd done this when I first started, because if you have a friend who's experienced creating platforms, they can help you a lot with that. And adding a friend or two can take off the pressure when it comes to editing, emails, ideas, posting, and a lot more. And it can be a lot more fun too. Like, I couldn't do the podcast without Justin, Gabriel, Will, all them. They all play a huge role in the podcast. And I mean, without Josh, he's the guy who's behind the scenes. You don't see him too much, but he handles a lot of the emails and stuff that we get, because we actually get a ton of emails, spam emails, and then people who actually want something. So there's a ton to sort through. And another thing you can do when starting your channel is, if you don't know what to make a video about, do whatever you like doing. So me and my friend Nate, we enjoyed doing trick shots. We'd seen Dude Perfect. They're actually really good Christian guys. They actually have a gospel message of sorts after every one of their shows, which is really great. So we love doing trick shots. So we made a YouTube channel after them called Kid Perfect, where we did trick shots, and we had discipleship on like the top of it to point people to discipleship, to point them to God. And so we had no subscribers on there to show people, so we didn't really have anything to do. But then we just posted a video like this of trick shots trying to get people to go to discipleship. So that's one of the videos we posted when we had like nobody watching. And I know we actually thought trick shots were going to be very easy. And I'll tell you, they are not easy at all. That one shot of Justin throwing the ball like that from half court took about 100 tries and about all my phone's storage. And now we've actually gotten a lot bigger in our trick shots. We're still doing that occasionally now. I think our biggest one is me and Justin stood next to each other at half court and both threw a ball behind us, and they both went in, which was a crazy shot for us. We got that on the 5th try, which was very crazy for us. But that video alone, we had no subscribers. That video got 2,000 views, and we were able to point 2,000 people to discipleship, and they were able to, have a chance to go there and check it out, and it actually worked. It was working. So use whatever you do. I play ukulele. Everybody hates it. Everybody hates it, okay? Yes. My family especially. I played the whole way in the car here when we're from North Carolina. So, yeah, it's but I love playing ukulele. So I started making videos of me just remaking songs on ukulele. And I actually got some Christian artists who I'd played their songs. They came and congratulated me on my channel, and they showed people this, and people started coming. They're like, "Oh, this person's subscribed to this channel. Let's go check it out." So use whatever you can do. So that's the basic steps of what you can do to start a channel. And remember, God's got this. He's going to take you where he wants you to be. He's going to take your channel where he wants it to be. So the 4 steps for creating a channel is create the channel, choose a name, choose a platform, start posting, repost videos and make your own, ask for interviews. You already have a no if you don't go for a yes, and add a friend. You and a friend can do this together. I think that's the best part, because I cannot handle the editing of that entire channel by myself. I have to, almost every single day, I'm working on the podcast or the YouTube channel or the website. I mean, we have like 3 different websites, all the different podcasting platforms asking for stuff to keep our channel up, all that different things. And I couldn't do it without my friends helping me do that. So wait, we got a double slide. Oh yes, I had one more example. I don't remember. Let me see. I forgot to bring something. Here is actually, afterwards I'm going to no, it's not the t-shirt. I need like a small piece of paper. Do we have that? This is and in reference to doing whatever you like to do. Thank you. Thank you. I love doing magic tricks, and so what I'm going to do real fast is a very quick magic trick for you guys, and I need someone to come help me, not you, because you know this magic trick and you will expose it to everybody in the audience. So yeah, here, you want to come up and help me real fast? Let me think. Here, you want to, I don't know, you can stand right here. Yeah. All right, so this trick is very difficult to do with someone standing up, so you're going to stand right here, okay? And what I'm going to do, here, you can just face toward the audience. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this. 1, 2, 3. Put this ball paper in my hand. You're going to wave your hand over, say abracadabra, it's going to disappear. You ready? All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. And it's gone. So you can see you can do magic tricks like that, even as simple as that. Would you like to know how the trick is done? Look behind you. Good job. Thank you. You did great. That is one of my favorite tricks. It's not a very impressive trick, but it's still a fun trick. I actually had another trick I was going to do. There's a trick where it's a Bible. You can open it up. The Bible actually lights on fire, and then you have to like close it fast. I was going to do that before, but we did not have lighter fluid, and the Bible, for some reason, the starter broke, and so we don't know why. It just sort of started breaking. So that's how to start an online ministry, and I hope that's been informative and fun at the same time. And so now we'll do like a quick Q&A. I'll answer like 3 most common problems or questions that you'll come into when you start have an online ministry. And then any questions y'all have, I'll be happy to try and answer. So we have 1 t-shirt left. Approximately how many people saw Jesus after he rose from the dead? 500? I think that's right. Yeah, it's about 500. Here's your t-shirt. All right, so yes, this is my final. I didn't make slides for these questions because they're not really big questions. So when creating a channel, stuff that you can just do. So when you first start it, depending on how you deal with criticism, comments are optional. I'll tell you, when I first started mine, I did not have comments off, and I got a ton of comments because when Dr. Hovind showed people my channel on his channel, it was great. We got a bunch of great people who came on. I've gotten to be friends with a lot of them, but also atheists and different people who do not like what we're doing also came over, and I think I got maybe 15 to 20 comments of them saying he's leading you astray, kid. Don't listen to him. And yeah, so even Christians just saying you should not tell people about hell when witnessing. What are you talking about? And so just make sure whether you want that or not. I think you can block people and stuff like that. But that was one of the main problems I ran into. And any other questions that y'all have? If anybody has any questions on on any of the topics, you can come and see me afterwards, or I can answer them now. Any of the gospel tracts that you've seen, you feel free to take a few of them to start off. Livingwaters.com is the website name to get the gospel tracts from. They have over 300 different gospel tracts. ranging from should you support abortion to just the $1 Million Bill gospel track. So whatever you need, they've got it on there. They've also got a bunch of great videos on how to witness. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Now, this is a 14-year-old. What's your excuse? Everybody can find something to do for the Lord. Some people can walk into a room. You parents will understand this. You kids will not understand. Parents can say to the kid, don't you see anything that needs to be done? Okay, here. Pick up that dirty sock. Okay, now turn around. Now move your feet. Now come over here. Put it in the dirty clothes. Okay, now turn around. Move your feet again. Come over here and pick up the other one. How many know what I'm talking about? Don't you see anything? There's a war going on for the kingdom of heaven. Find something to do. If you're sitting in your car and you turn the wheel all the way to the left, what happens? Nothing if it isn't rolling. Right? Get rolling. Hey, Brother Hovind, did God call you to do this? I don't know. I'm going to get busy and do something. It's easier to steer a car that's moving. Find something to do. If it's wrong, God will say, no, come this way. Okay? Everybody ought to find something. If you don't have some kind of ministry for the Lord, you don't get it. Maybe your ministry is helping somebody else that has a ministry for the Lord. God called a whole bunch of people to follow Saul when he got elected to be king. 1 Samuel. There went with him a band of men whose hearts God had touched. God called Aaron and Moses, or called Aaron and Hur. Hey, Moses is up on the mountain. He's holding up his stick. He's tired. Help him. Each of those guys got on one arm and held his arms up till they won the battle. Maybe your job is not shooting bullets. Maybe it's paying for the bullets. But everybody ought to do something. Some people are really good at making money. Good at making money. I don't know any of them, but maybe that's your job. I like what you're doing. I mean, we get donations once in a while, our little donation box, $20 or $50. And once in a while, somebody comes up, Bro, I love your ministry. Here's $1,000. Thank you. We just got our electric bill for $3,000. Okay. Find something to do. Thank you, brother. Appreciate what you did. If I can help in any way, let me know. All right. Let's give him another hand. All right. Thank you. All right. Who has not had my outside tour in the Jeep yet? Who has not? Okay. If you'll meet me in the Jeep right now, we'll take off before it gets too hot. Who has not had the Science Center tour? We'll do that when it gets supposed to rain this afternoon, so we'll get the tours in. Who has not had the barn tour, the farm petting zoo tour? Okay. Yeah. Right, you'll be given the barn tour, okay. How many have not had the playground tour with the swings and slides and all that stuff? We try to make everything have a science lesson with a spiritual lesson. Jesus taught that way. Consider the lilies. Why do I want to look at a flower? Oh, they're beautiful, and they don't worry about their clothes. You could learn something from that flower. Yeah. What are you worried about? The flower doesn't worry. Simple lesson. We got a whole bunch of those we teach around here. Okay. Any questions or comments before we break? We have lunch at 12 and then 1 o'clock next sermon. Who's that? We don't know. It's on my calendar. Show up at 1. Sorry for the throat. Now, for you visitors, we need to warn you about our well water. I taught biology 15 years in high school. And if you people don't know this, but if you drink well water, your babies will be born naked. So be prepared for that, okay? All right, meet in the Jeep. We'll leave in 2 minutes. See you, bye.